Welcome to Leads and Leverage, Real Estate Team Leader Lounge, where success in real estate meets passion-driven leadership. I'm your host, Tyler Gibson. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate team leader, and investor, and I'm thrilled to have you join us in the ultimate hub for real estate excellence. In this exclusive lounge, we're diving deep into strategies, tactics, and stories that fuel the success of real estate teams. Whether you're a seasoned pro looking to take your leadership skills to new heights or an aspiring entrepreneur ready to build your own powerhouse team, this podcast is your go-to resource for insider insights and actionable advice. Get ready to hear from top experts, industry pioneers, and real-world achievers who are making waves in the real estate world. We'll explore the best practices, share invaluable lessons learned, and equip you with tools you need to thrive in today's competitive market. Welcome to the lounge where leaders are made and success is earned. Come on in to the Real Estate Team Leader Lounge. First of all, Harry, thank you so much for spending some time with me today to talk about your career and your team. And so I kind of want to start with how long have you been doing real estate now?
Got licensed halfway through 2017. Started off with Keller Williams, single agent. My wife had been in real estate as a operations manager for one of the larger teams at Keller Williams. She was, had an administrative staff under her, so she kind of had a good understanding of what needed to be done to build a business. She just, doesn't like the sales side of things, and she said, "You're definitely not an introvert. Go get your real estate license. I think you'd be good at this," and that's how it started.
So how long were you doing sales as a solo or on a team before you started your own team?
So actually wasn't sure if we were going to start a team. My wife had went through that process. It was a lot, a lot of moving parts, a lot of, structure instead of having a little bit more loose structure when you're just a husband and wife team. When you have a team, have to be in the office at a certain time. You have to set an example, So we discussed just doing it just the two of us. And I had a childhood friend see our posts on Facebook, run into me at an event that we were doing. We were doing the whole, setting up booths and, giving out gift certificates for a raffle and, the old school stuff. And he showed up and said, what do I got to do? I see you guys on Facebook. I see, you guys are having some moderate success. I want to get on board. So, I kind of talked it over with her. I said, what do you think? She was on board, and he called me up in a few months, said I got my license. And from then on, people got referred. Everything's been organic. Haven't really put too much into recruiting. When people get referred my way, we sit down, have a cup of coffee, see if it'll be a good fit. And if it is, we give everybody the opportunity to fly on our team. We don't hold back leads from newer agents. So, that's kind of the model that we have.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your team structure or team mission statement. For example, on my team, while I do have some leads I give out, it's not my primary focus as a team leader. My primary focus as a team leader is teaching other people how to fish for themselves, right? The old adage, give a man a fish or feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. So for me, it's more about teaching people how to fish. What does it look like for you? Are you feeding people more, or are you trying to teach people
Absolutely.
How to go out and generate their own business?
Absolutely. So I didn't have the greatest natural base of clients. Went to a few different schools, didn't grow up, going with the same group of kids from kindergarten to 12th grade. So I just didn't have the best base ever to start with. It was decent, average at best. Started, cold calling, didn't like that very much, then started, paying for leads, realized that I, was above average at converting internet leads, and it worked for me. It allowed me to go from, doing 7 million a year to 15 to 30 million a year, and, so on and so forth. And total volume coming from someone who, if I was just waiting for friends and family to send me referrals, I would have 10 to 12 closings a year,
right.
Instead of, 70 closings a year. So I saw the value in it. I think a lot of people are in the same boat. They have, good confidence. They have the ability to talk to people. They don't have, call reluctance. and they just don't know where to start, or they don't have the finances to bankroll them. So we are a online lead-based team. All the regular stuff: pay-per-click, Zillow, Realtor, and we meet at the office every morning between 8 and 9 a.m. and just make calls, man. Just make calls, talk to people. We have fun. Very laid back, nothing super formal, and we very light in the office, but we take what we do very, very, very seriously. So it's a good balance of having fun and building a real serious business.
How quickly did you transition from traditional real estate prospecting methodologies, open houses, for sale by owners, cold calling, to internet leads? Was it right away when you first started, or was it later on down the road?
Maybe beginning of 2019, I would say, to end of 2018. So I'd say maybe a year to 15 months in, somewhere around there is when I said, all right, let me just throw a couple dollars in Zillow. Let me see. Went online, YouTube scripts, and watched people, on their videos calling buyer leads and talking to seller leads, and I was able to shadow a few people on the cold calling. I had a few guys over at Keller that were awesome that I still talk to this day, that were invaluable and just really helpful. But with the cold calling, FISBOs and all that just wasn't for me. But I was able to see how they kind of counterpunched, and overcame obstacles, I guess is the correct term. And we found, I believe in Florida, I believe in Orlando. So we help a lot of people move here from out of state. So when you're caught in a traffic jam, we're one of the teams that you can blame. So
thank you very much.
As you can see, we believe in Florida. That's why that is on the wall behind us right there.
I love it. So talk to me. So I know that a lot of the people that have come to your team, it's been organic, right? They've been referred by somebody else. Are you mostly finding new agents joining your team, or are you having some seasoned agents that are getting referred to join your team, or is it mostly just new folks getting licensed?
Newer agents that have been in the business and fizzled out and want to get back in to where they know how to write a contract. They have a handful of closings under their belt. It's a little bit of a mix. I had a husband and wife team join this past year that had been in real estate, moderate success for 3 years. They were on the same brokerage. They saw what we were doing. We met up for coffee. They wanted to try it on their own for a little while. Came back about a year later and said, you know what, we want to get on board. So it's everybody on our team has their own story. But newer agents, man. Here, look, I'm a sports guy, right? So as much, I'm not a LeBron James fan. I'm a diehard Celtics fan. But I say that LeBron James was better than PJ Brown his first year in the league, and PJ Brown had been in the league for 10 years. So someone's experience does not determine their the speed to success that they can have. If they have the natural ability, people like working with them. They make people feel comfortable about a stressful, transaction, or it's purchasing real estate is stressful. So when you have someone that you can that has the ability to set people at ease, that can manage the emotional roller coaster of a transaction and make it fun for the client to buy and sell real estate, have a good time throughout the process, build a referral base because they do good work for people and they actually care about their clients. And I can teach them how to get through that first phone call, man. Just let me. Is it cool if I call you next week? Is that all right? Are you available? I'll send you some homes, and can just have that good first conversation. I believe that that you don't really need a ton of experience for that. You got to believe in what you're selling, which is Orlando real estate's not the hardest thing to believe in, right? We're a growing city. It's real estate's awesome, so why not believe in that as a product? You're helping people achieve a dream one way or the other, whether it's the dream of relocating, the dream of buying their first home. So you have that as a base of an individual, that he has the skills, he has the belief, he just needs some direction and coaching, and it can be a good fit. So we've done all right in a very short period of time, and super grateful. All the glory goes to God. I don't shy away from my faith at all.
Sure.
So that's definitely something that we stand on, and I definitely think that we've been blessed because of that. So I don't think it's all my ability by any means. Because if it was, we probably wouldn't be on this conversation.
Yeah, I hear you. I also I feel very passionate about what my calling is, and my calling is to help people, specifically
Correct.
buyers, sellers, and agents. Right? That's what I feel is at my core. When people buy or sell property, it's most oftentimes the largest financial transaction of their entire lives, and we don't take that lightly. And I try to make that something heavy for everyone on my team to think about, that
Absolutely.
you're dealing with tens of thousands of dollars, and it's a big responsibility. And our job is not to sell people on a home. Our job, at least from our perspective on our team, is to be an advisor and help provide all the information that a person needs to make an educated decision. Right? We don't sell you something. We're going to give you information. So
I love that, man. To piggyback on what you're saying, we say the exact same thing verbatim. It's the biggest purchase someone's ever going to make in their life, unless they, were born into money and are going to go buy a jet, right? So, and it's the odd one out. I also say this, that other than marriage, baptism, and childbirth, purchasing a home is probably the most intimate thing that someone will do, especially if they're doing it with their wife, or if it's a father doing it with his son, helping his son purchase. So other than those three things, your marriage, your baptism, and your your childbirth, it's right up there. It's one of the big deals, and they've chosen you to help facilitate that. So it's not just a paycheck at the end of the 30 days, man. You got to take this serious. You got to be honored. These people feel a connection with you, because if they didn't, and especially from what we do, because we're just the weird people on the other end of a phone at first, and we are able to establish a connection that way and build trust. So when you do that, you got to take that serious. And yeah, that's something that we stand pretty heavy on over here as well.
I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about your internet leads, right? What lead sources have you felt like have contributed to the greatest value to your team?
All the ones I just mentioned, Realtor.com, Zillow, they ebb and flow. They all hit and miss. We'll have months where, we're got, 5 or 6 closings all from Zillow leads, and only 1 from Google or none from Google. And then we'll have 3 or 4 from Google. I definitely think that the Google pay-per-clicks are a little more long-term follow-up, a lot more out-of-state relocation than the Zillow and the Realtor.com. But unlike Realtor.com and Zillow, Google is not as zip code based. You can do your keywords Orlando, right? Windermere. You can, and they're a lot less expensive. So your chance for getting a $2 million qualified buyer, that has, the proof of funds to show you right away it's a lot more likely on Google, but you're going to make 10, 20 times, 30 times the calls as you will on Zillow or Realtor.com. So, it's a good balance. We also do Facebook. I do a little bit of Ojo. I think that's it right now, are those 5. We still do events maybe 2-3 times a year. I'm not huge on that. I'm not huge on door knocking. To each his own. It's just, I feel like still all numbers, the more conversations. I actually did a panel with Kevin Kendrick over in Lake Nona, and I said conversations lead to contracts, and that's something that I had said, in the office a lot. And he actually texted me or made a Facebook post, and he said something like, "Hey, I've actually been repeating that line in our office from last week." And I was like, I told my wife, and she went and got a little poster made that says conversations lead to contracts. So the more conversations you can have in a day about real estate, the more likely you are to be able to build what it might take someone 5 years to build, as far as a base of clients in 12 to 24 months. So we're trying to cut that time in half for these agents and give them the opportunity. And right now the market's we're in a weird spot right now. So even more so than now, you got to dig deep and you got to keep staying the course and making calls. What you do today is going to pay off, in the future. Same thing working out, saving money. It's all about grit, your faith, standing strong. You're not going to see an immediate result that day. So we preach all of that. That's kind of our team philosophy. And fortunately, we have a great group of people that have really bought in. As much trust as I've put in them, they've put back in myself and my wife to lead. And, it's just a real great synergy here in our office. And we love it. We have fun.
That's great. How big is your team today? How many agents do you have as a part of your team?
So we have 4 full-time producing agents, 3 others that are more than part-time, but that are still transitioning, trying to get their feet under. And then 1 that just joined that's going full-time, so that would be 8. And then we have 2 more part-time agents. So I'd say 10 agents, 4 of us really in production. My wife is the operations manager, and she has an administrative assistant and who's been absolutely awesome. So just everybody gets along. Everybody gets along. We have fun. There's no oddballs out.
That's great. If someone had the crazy idea, and it is a little bit crazy, to start a team, and they came to you and they said, hey, I'm thinking about starting a team, what's the first piece of advice you would give them?
Start your team from home. Keep the overhead low. Keep the overhead low. If you're going to do it my way, we have an office now, but $2,500 for an office goes a long way in Google pay-per-click leads, right?
Yeah.
So go talk to your neighbors, let them know, hey, it's going to look like Cumberland Farms over here for 6 months to a year, but we'll bring over some brownies once a month. And
So did you have agents coming to your home and dialing with you in the mornings?
Yes, we did. My neighbors are awesome. I get along with everybody. So I told them, hey, we're eventually going to get an office. It kind of spiraled a little bit quicker. And then before long, I had 6 cars. And, I told my wife and I had talked, and we were like, hey, our neighbors are cool. Everybody's cool, but we gotta find something. So we went out and we found something like almost right away. As soon as we said, hey, it's time to get an office, but we worked really well out of the house. Everybody did well. We have fond memories. The agent that's been with me the longest, he comes and visits, and he says, that's where, I'm had my first year where I had over 30 closed transactions right there on that stool. So fond memories, but, there was a time to transition. But I keep your overhead low, put the money into leads. If you want to do things my way, some people, prefer networking and going to events and, going out one-on-one, the one-on-one lunches with 5 people in a day. And some people prefer the divorce, you get attorneys referring you business. And I don't think there's any right or wrong way. You got to find what you're good at and build a team of people that have similar skill sets that can be good at the same thing. You can't teach someone. If you fish and you have a guy that's good at hunting, you're not going to teach him how to hunt. And if you're a hunter, you're not going to teach a guy to fish. If you're good with a bow and arrow, you go with a bow and arrow. If you're good with a fishing rod, you go with a fishing rod. So find people that have a similar skill set, that like the structure and the way you built your business, and teach them what you did, and stay consistent. Lead by example. Be in the trenches. Don't demand anything of your team that you don't demand of yourself. So if you tell your team, to be in at a certain time, be in at that time. Don't be on the golf course till, noon while everybody else is in the office making calls. So that's another thing. Lead by example. Be there with your team in the trenches.
I love that. What was one of the biggest challenges you faced as you launched kind of a formal team? I know that you and your wife were working kind of as a partnership and kind of as a team. Or I assume she was dealing with a lot of the operational and kind of paperwork, transaction coordination side of stuff. As you started to bring on agents to your team, what was one of the biggest struggles that you faced? And then I guess, what did you do to fix it? Being the
source of knowledge, man. Being the source of knowledge. I could teach people how to, how to do the beginning stuff, the prospecting, and I didn't have structure on how I was going to train. And I still don't have too much, I have some, a lot more, but, really having the knowledge of what these agents were going to need from me, and being available. I was always available, but it's tough to put in words what I'm trying to explain. So bear with me 1 second. If we had a escrow dispute, if I saw something that could lead to an escrow dispute, to be able to take time out of my day to say, I know you got the inspection report back. Let me glance over your shoulder because I'm dealing with newer agents. Let me see if there's anything that I see as a concern. To transition from being solely a technician to also being a manager and I guess a CEO, to be able to wear all three hats. The goal is ultimately to transition completely away from technician to being a manager and then to being a CEO and hiring a manager. The trajectory of owning a business, you don't want to be boots on the ground when you're 60, 65 years old, right? The goal of doing what we're doing right now is to be able to just be the CEO, to be the visionary at one point. But at the beginning, it was a little difficult for me to wear the technician hat, producing at the rate I was producing, which is pretty decent and pretty time consuming and demanding, and also being the manager that was always available for my team. That was making sure we were doing a class here and there, that we were touching on subjects, that we weren't always, hey, let's learn as you go, which real estate is learn as you go. But, there is some coaching that can be done to kind of soften that curve a little bit. So we've gotten much better at that. We make sure we have classes, lenders come in, title agents come in, we go over FIRP, we have a class on FIRPTA, we have a class on, 1031. All that stuff, title commitments, to where even though you've only had 50 transactions in your career, you're very much educated, and then you have that base to where you can talk intelligibly about it. And then also the administrative things, right? Making sure, that my wife and her assistant had the structure, had the templates, and kind of, sharpening our blades as we went, I guess, and we've done that. We've done that a lot. So, like I said, very grateful of everything we've learned and everything we've been through.
I definitely connect with you on the transfer of knowledge being one of the biggest challenges, right? Because sometimes you don't know what they need to know until they need to know it, and as a technician, somebody, that's done, 150 deals in their career, you're like, well, yeah, you should have known that. Well, except you didn't because you've not done any deals or you've done 2, right? So definitely a big challenge. What have you done to try to alleviate some of that? Aside from having, some outside partners and vendors come in and do classes on the different types of loans and 1031s and FIRPTA and that kind of stuff, what have you done to kind of educate folks through your system while not taking a ton of your time?
So I can't take all the credit. I have an agent that's been with me for 3 years, Mikhail Kaldi. He's awesome. He's been, produced, 10 million plus since his first year, every year. And he kind of has taken it on himself to just not offer guidance to some of these agents. So just speak. We don't have a giant office. It's like 1,700 square feet, including the conference room. So we're in close quarters making calls. So there's constant conversations about, what to look for in an inspection, different types of loans, the FHA limit goes up, where we know right on the spot. No, now you can go up to, 498 FHA. So, just constantly everybody knows about that stuff. And we're always, quizzing each other, talking to each other about it, always. What are the 4 types of plumbing that you come in contact with? Which one's problematic? Because we do a lot of 300,000-400,000. We sold, between 4 agents, we sold, over 150 homes last year. So our average home price is probably only 400,000. We do consistently do a handful of $1 million homes every year, but luxury is not our focus. Whatever the person that we're speaking to on the other end of the phone can afford, whether it's a $150,000 condo or a $2 million, lakefront home in Winter Garden, we treat everybody with the same respect.
And I guess that's one of the one of the things that comes with working internet leads is you have no idea what kind of lead that is until you get them on the phone, right? Or you get the notification of whatever their buying criteria or the property that they clicked on to say, hey, I want some more information. It's less of a targeted niche of a particular type of client or a type of buyer, and more so just serving, whoever shows up on your doorstep. So I can imagine that could create some complexities in your training modules too. Because the way you deal with $1 million client is probably a little bit different than the way you deal with a first-time home buyer, right?
For sure. So yeah, we are very open with different, things to look for. Everything from price point differentials to cultural, preferences, from people from a different background, an Indian buyer versus, someone that is from Wisconsin, they might be looking for different things, and you can't group them or stereotype everybody into one. But if you have represented a decent amount of people from different backgrounds, you do start to notice a trend, like, hey, this is something to look out for. And so we're very open with that. We don't shy away from that. And I think that once you meet that client and you know something about their culture as it pertains to their preferences in home buying, that goes a long way. They feel like, wow, you really you really have gone the extra mile. You're knowledgeable. We feel connected. So very open with all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
also,
that's great.
The process. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, so you have to be well versed, and if nothing else, you got to be really good at discovery on the front end to figure out what could potentially be the problems that we're going to face, just from a client relations standpoint as you move forward. So, when you build a team, attrition is something that is just kind of a part of it. Have you guys experienced much attrition where agents decide to leave the team? And has that been something that you guys have had to deal with very much?
Not very much. 2 agents have left the team. One is still moderately successful on his own. I won't go into details with things, but
sure.
No one's on I'm not on, not in a bad, relationship with anybody. One other agent left the team, and I don't think they're producing anymore. And then we had someone get their real estate license that was referred by a mutual friend that within 2 weeks of having, buyers set appointments and then cancel, just could not take the emotional roller coaster and decided, real estate wasn't for them. And, a sweet person. So, but 2 agents that have left the team that are still in real estate. One is still doing some production from what I can see, and the other is not. But no, we do not have a high turnover on our team at all. We make it very clear that we're not looking for that. So if, you plan on, using us as a stepping stone, that please just, find another team to do that with, because we're trying to build, it sounds very corny and very cliche, but we're trying to build a family here. And it's true. We go out to dinner together. We go to lunch together. Some of the guys, they go to the gym. When things are slow, they'll, hey, you want to go to the gym, and they'll go to the gym and work out together. And no one's known each other before, joining our team, and everybody gets along really well. So we have not had, too much problems with people wanting to leave.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Thank God.
Aside from having an office and being in the same workspace and having a requirement for people to be there. And by the way, is that a requirement? People
Yes.
I think you said that earlier. People have to be in the office
if you want leads,
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday. Yes. Now, obviously, if you have a dentist appointment at 9 o'clock, you're not going to get fired. It's not like you need to bring a doctor's note because you missed, or you have a client that's only available, to see homes in the morning. Or you're driving from 40 minutes away to the office and you have a client that wants to see a home at 11, like, hey, I'm just going to make calls from home today. But I would say, most agents are here on average 4.5 days a week, if that makes sense, if you average.
And is there an expectation on a number of dials or hours they have to spend in the office?
Yes. Hours in the office. We say, 8 to 12. it's really from 8 to 9. People are, kind of, myself included, getting to the office. Seasons for everything. Sometimes everybody's, in the office at 8. Sometimes we're coming in at 8:15. But typically around noon, we say, unless it's an emergency and the client cannot, work around your schedule, set your showings for afternoon. Get in the mornings. Between 8 and 9 a.m. is the best time to call a lead. It's the best time to call a lead. So if you can be locked in at 8 a.m., it's a grind, but if you can, you're gonna do better than if you're starting your calls at 9:15.
Sure.
But understand that not everybody can commit to that every day, so we're a little loose with that.
How did you come to determine that 8 to 9 was the best time of day to be trying to call those leads?
The CRM that we use, they've done research. I've always kind of had the mindset to, fastest way to success is to copy success. So if someone has done something on a macro level, a research study, who am I to say that they're wrong? So I'll try it out. And if I see that, hey, what these guys are talking about, it makes sense, it adds up, then just take it and run with it. So the CRM, they had a training video when I first joined them, and they had the specific, like, which day is the best, which day you're more likely to get a text response. And that was pretty cool. Commissions Inc. is, we're transparent, we're an open book. There's enough to go around. So,
yeah.
Our whole playbook, we use Commissions Inc. Any team leads need help, agents need help. I'm always available. I've lent my opinion on, to agents that have been in the business 5 years, that have been single agents that want to start a team, handful of times, and always happy to help.
I love that. There's so much business out there. There's no reason why you need to keep your secrets to yourself.
Right.
And what I've found most oftentimes is that even if you do tell someone what your secret sauce is, the chances that they're going to go out and implement what you do is relatively low. Now, there's a small percentage of people out there that will go out and do exactly what you do, but it's so small that I have no fear. Right. I have an abundance mindset. There's plenty of business out there. There's no reason for me to worry about whether or not you're going to take some of mine, because I'll go find more. So
right.
I love that.
What one man does not affect the next man, right? So just because you're successful, what is it they say? They're not mutually exclusive. Your success does not ultimately determine my failure. So and as a Christian, I believe that our calling is not just to build business and make money. So it's to be helpful, and I honestly believe that, to help people. So the deeper I get in my faith, the more I stand on that, and the more I try to hold that as a core value. Even when I'm tired, or I get burnt out, and I'm like, I don't want to take this call. If I know that call is someone, on the other line is someone that's stressing out, that just needs maybe 10 minutes of my time. Even though I'm tired and I want to sit down with my wife and watch TV at 7 o'clock at night, and I know that me not taking that call might lead to someone having anxiety when I could just give them 10 minutes of my time to offer my advice or talk to them about whatever's going on, whether client or an agent. I try to remind myself of that and take that call, while also setting some kind of boundaries, right? So we got to have some kind of boundaries, but I definitely don't believe in shutting people out after 5 p.m. That's another core value of mine. I definitely think that real estate is not a 9 to 5. So people with a 9 to 5 mentality that refuse to crack a laptop open on a Saturday and make calls just because they don't have to be in the office, I don't think you're gonna do very well with what we do. So this is something, it's building a business, and this is another thing that I say, building a. And let me scoot this up. I feel like this chair. Bear with me 1 second. I feel like I'm sitting really low over here, man. There, that's better. Now I'm not just chin. I say building a business is like having a baby, right? Your first year, you got to be with that baby every year, every minute, right? You can't walk away. As they start to learn to walk on their own, maybe you can put them in a room, put a little gate up, and go out in the kitchen and prepare a meal. You don't have to be as attentive. by the time they're 5 or 6, you can let them go run in the backyard and watch a TV show and just peek at the window every 5 minutes and check on them. Building a business is the same way, right? Your first couple years in it, you got to treat it like it's your baby. As it gets older, it can walk on its own a little bit, and it frees up some time for you. So, I preach that to the team as well, and the people that buy in do very well. So we're going to continue to do what we're doing. Keep giving all the glory to God, man.
I love it. So I've got. We'll end on this. I've just got a couple of final questions. What's your vision for this business 5 years from now? Would you like to see this team? Are your plans to continue to expand and add more agents, or is it just to continue to grow volume with the hands that you have now? And do you have?
So I would like to add more agents. That being said, that's not my main focus. My main focus is getting the agents that I want everybody on our team to be able to make 6 figures. Everybody on the team to be able to make 6 figures. So, I'm more focused on the people that have been on the team that if they made 85,000, I say, you know what, let's, and not to make it about money, but when you're in a business, anybody who says they're in a business and it's not about money is lying to you. It can't be the only thing. Your bottom line cannot be your only thing. And, unless you're Lennar. But yeah, so
we'll bleep that out.
Yeah, bleep that one out. Or leave it. I'll stand on everything that comes out of my mouth. But no, I really want to see the continued success of the people that are with us, and for them to grow. I'd rather have a team of 8 agents that are all averaging 40 transactions a year and doing $16-17 million in volume. And really building a good life for themselves than having 60 agents that are all making $40,000 a year and just getting by, right? And so, yes, I want more agents to summarize, but I really want to see the people that are on our team continue to grow and continue to flourish.
Yeah.
And most importantly,
I think you said something really important there. That it's not all about money, and that's true. The business is not all about money. My philosophy has always been, at least with my team, is that if it's not profitable, I can't do it. Right, because at the end of the day, I'm still a business, and a business has to be profitable. Otherwise, it's not a business; it's a charity or it's something else. And so, for me, profitability is super important because if I'm not profitable, I can't continue to run the business. So we're always looking at: are we profitable? Because if we're not profitable, it doesn't serve anybody. Say what?
How quickly do you cut something if it's not profitable?
We will usually run something for 6 months, and if we don't see ROI in a 6-month period, then we'll reevaluate, either reducing spend if we really, really, really believe that it's going to pay off, or we'll just pivot to something else differently.
Fair enough. Yeah, we review it about 6 months too. So I think that certain things, Realtor.com, we ran for a year, and it was not great. And then all of a sudden, don't know what it was, just really started, paying off. So I think that sometimes you can cut something too quickly because it's not profitable, or you can cut people too quickly because it's taking them a little bit of time to catch on. I think, when it comes to that, I'm not robotic in a sense where I live by a law. I do evaluate at 6 months, but you can adjust downward without completely cutting something and adjust upward, like a weighted amount of leads to an individual, and then just send them to classes to get training and not give up on someone. Ultimately, I feel like people will figure out if it's not a good fit. Haven't had to fire anybody. I have once had to tell someone, hey, you're not holding up to your end of what we discussed. Let me know by the end of the day if you want to continue to do this. And their answer was no, I don't. And it was just really didn't really have the grind, the hustle that was needed. So that's really what it is. If you have the grind and the hustle, the skill set more than likely is teachable. We just got to find what we're doing wrong if it's not clicking right away. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Well, so thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. And this is recorded. We'll chop it up. We'll maybe create some shorts out of it, and I'll probably produce a longer YouTube video for it. We'll cut some of the stuff out, but I'll share all that content with you. What questions do you have for me? I'm happy to tell you anything about me and my playbook. So what could I offer you in terms of value?
How long have you been in real estate?
So I got licensed October 2019.
Nice.
And I started as a part-time agent. So what?
You went straight into, after part-time, you went straight into being a team lead? Or did you do the
I started my team while I was part-time.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's
so
different.
I had, so my niche has always been working with investors. There's a website called biggerpockets.com. It's the world's largest real estate investor forum, as well as the #1 real estate podcast in the world. I ask people, have you ever heard of biggerpockets.com? People in the industry. And they go, no. And I go, you mean you haven't heard of the #1 real estate podcast in the world?
I haven't.
And I go, no. I mean, a lot of people don't listen to podcasts, and it's okay. I found it on accident 10 years ago. I bought my first rental property. I started in real estate as an investor. I had my first rental property, and I got my first rent check in the mail, and I ran inside the house, and I looked at my wife, and I said, we got $1,000 right here, and we didn't do anything. This is the best money I've ever made.
Yeah.
And my wife looked at me and said, we didn't make $1,000. Our mortgage is $600. And I said, you're killing my buzz. I said, we got $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got $1,000. You know, don't bore me with the facts. Okay.
That's right. But after that moment, the next day, when I had some downtime at work, I was like, I got to figure out how to make more of this kind of money. And I knew the only way I was going to be able to do that if I really understood the math behind what is and is not a good investment. And so I started looking for a rental property calculator.
ROI calculator, man.
Yeah, well, so I ended up finding, I stumbled across biggerpockets.com because there was somebody that uploaded a spreadsheet on one of their forums. And biggerpockets.com being one of the world's largest real estate investor forums, the SEO that they have is crazy behemoth, right? And so I started to do a lot of research there on the website and educate myself, started listening to the podcast consistently. We grew the portfolio a little bit with some partnerships over the next few years. And then when I was going to be a father, we found out that we were pregnant in December 2018. I worked for a company where I traveled 25 weeks out of the year. And as you know, my goal in being a father was I'd be here for everything. Right? I'd never miss an event. Right? I'd always, all the dance recitals or plays or, I wanted to be here for everything. And I knew that the only way that I could guarantee that was the case is if I controlled my time. If I didn't trade my time for money, which is when you're employed, you trade time for money. That's pure and simple. That's what it breaks down to. So the goal was get my real estate license so that I could buy more rentals, increase my passive income over the next 10 years. That was the thought. And then in 10 years, I'll have enough passive income I can leave my day job. Because I had a great job. And I actually enjoyed what I did at the time because I transitioned jobs in early 2019. And when I started at my new job, I got paid more, which was nice, but I actually did less work, which was even more nice. And I found myself with a lot of free time in the middle of the day. And so I had talked to my wife when we first got married about maybe getting into real estate. And she had told me, you'd be great at that. But my own limiting belief of being a terrible student kept me from ever taking the course and trying to go get the license. And so,
I lacked confidence as well. My first year in, I admitted it to another agent. He said, why? Why? What? And I was like, I don't know. It's funny, right? And then
well,
figure it out.
So initially, my confidence wasn't necessarily about real estate or whatnot. It was just about my abilities as a student. It was a limiting belief that I had that I was a bad student. That's not true. What's true about me is that if I'm not interested, I just won't pay attention, right? So, and again, I was basing my limiting belief off of my experience in regular school, right? In high school and middle school and in college, if I was interested in the subject and I showed up to listen, I did fine. I got good grades. But if I wasn't interested, I didn't do the homework.
If there was a pretty girl in class, right? You showed up.
Yeah. Well, if there's a pretty girl in class, chances are I wasn't going to learn anything anyways. So, but yeah, it was just that limiting belief. But I got started, and because I had been so active on the forums, which I'm still active today, I actually started having people from out of state reach out to me about investing here in Central Florida. And so my niche ever since the beginning has been with working with investors, long-term rental and short-term rentals in the Disney area. That's kind of my niche. That's who our clients are. And so so as a full-time employee, and when I really started doing real estate, COVID happened, right? 2020, COVID happens. And I went from sitting in an office to sitting at home. And my day job was a product that HR services would use. So big company HR departments would use this product. However, when COVID happened, the last thing on these HR companies' mind was my product, because the number one thing they were concerned with was, how do I get my employees to work from home when we've never done this before? So for 3 months in the beginning of 2020, I didn't have any work to do at my day job except for internal meetings. And I had a real estate license, so I just became obsessed with analyzing real estate and how do I sell my first house, and got really active on the Bigger Pockets forums. And to this day, it's one of my best free lead generation sources here in Central Florida by simply interacting with people that are commenting about this area. You can set up a profile for free. You can set up keyword alerts for free, so you can get a notification in your email at 6 a.m. every day that tells you somebody said the word Orlando, which is what I do. And I jump into that conversation and I see what they're asking about. I try to add some value, and then I reach out to them personally, try to add some more value, and see if I can get a phone call. There's also paid leads that we do through there that have been really successful for us, but that was the crux of it. And in 2020, I did 12 deals as a part-time agent, and then in 2021, I ended up getting connected with a hedge fund flipper called Wedgwood Homes. They're a national hedge fund flipper, and they were doing business here in Orlando in 2021, early 2021, and I did 12 deals alone with them in 2021 as a part-time agent. We did almost 30. I think we did 28 transactions that year total. But I brought on my first team member in the summer of 2021 while I was still working part-time, and mostly because I had this hedge fund flipper that had 3 deals in escrow at the same time. And I needed to go open up doors for the inspector because they didn't use an inspection company. They, like, somebody on their staff would go do the inspection.
Right.
And they didn't have an e-key. So I had to go, right? Somebody had to go open the door. And I was struggling to juggle that and my full-time job, which my wife wasn't working. We had a brand new baby. So, sole income, I can't just give that and insurance up to go chase this real estate dream yet.
Have you?
Yes, yeah. I actually left my full-time job exactly 2 years after starting my real estate career. So I got licensed October 2019. I quit my full-time job the end of September. So October 1st, 2021, I was a full-time real estate agent. I actually was in New Orleans at the Bigger Pockets National Real Estate Conference on that day, on a panel with some people that do way bigger business than me, talk about imposter syndrome. And I got to stand in front of a crowd of about 150 people that were all, would-be real estate investors, and many of them were real estate investors, and got to say that because of this platform, I was able to transition from a 9-to-5 to full-time real estate.
Are you still focusing, and I know we're running a little over schedule, are you still focusing on building that portfolio?
So not as much. I sell a lot more than I buy, but that's because I'm a really picky buyer. And so I call
myself an amateur investor. We have like a handful of properties, and if I have one every year and a half, 2 years, I'm fine with that.
I'm just so picky, right? It's got to be a great deal. There's got to be something about it that's a wow factor for me. And right now, I would rather build the sales business to a point where I can step out of production in its entirety and focus on investing. So right now, we're still building the systems.
You got to like people to want to build a business like this, right?
That's true. You gotta like people, and I do. I really do like people.
Most of them.
But say what?
Most of them.
Most of them. That's true. So we focus on that stuff, and then I also do some Realtor.com, and then this year, last year and this year, we're trying to focus on creating more video content. All full circle, both for attracting agents to our business as well as attracting buyers and sellers to the business. And so we're going hard this year on video, YouTube and short form content to try to, just continue to fill up the pipeline.
Yeah, no, you're going to do great, man. That's something that we got to improve on, that we keep talking about, and we make, take one step forward and one step back, and, get bogged down with the day-to-day, because what we do is very time-consuming. But it's definitely something that it's a free platform. And nothing's better than a free platform, right? So, for me, the reason why I see such a value in it, and I'm fortunate, I've got some business partners within my EXP org that built some courses about leveraging YouTube for free to generate content, and how that content can become passive prospecting. And that's actually what they call their system. They call it passive prospecting, because the reality is that if you do a good job in creating these content videos where you're educating the people about the region where you service, and then you're talking about the specific neighborhoods in that region, and then you're showing the kinds of homes, and you're just producing that educational content. If you focus on SEO optimization on the YouTube platform, which YouTube is the number 2 search engine on the internet. Google's number 1, YouTube's number 2, right? So then if you focus on that SEO optimization, you can literally find people that you've never talked to before, and what happens is they end up watching your content, and they might watch your content for 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden they call you and they say, hey, help me buy this house. And so we want to build that passive prospecting into our business, because it's evergreen content that runs forever and people can come back to it. So we're heavily invested in that this year. You're going to kill it, man. You're going to kill it.
I'm going to try. So
are you going to be at the Toast to the Top tonight?
I will be there tonight. Yeah.
Nice. We'll meet then.
Yeah.
I'll be in a little bit different outfit, so you might not recognize me.
I'll probably be wearing the same exact thing.
Yeah, if you do it, I'll do it.
Well, this is where I'm most comfortable. This is how I like, I put a suit on when I go to a listing appointment. That's about it.
That's it. I call it the Clark Kent to Superman. We come in comfortable in the office. Everybody's kind of dressed down, and you have that suit. If you get an impromptu showing or an appointment, it's to the phone booth, man. It's to the phone. Yeah,
you'll catch me in a golf shirt or in this fishing shirt and golf like pants with Grand Zero wingtips, Cole Haan Grand Zeros.
More professional than me. You'll catch me in a t-shirt and a backwards cap. 40%.
Well, but I'm going out to show houses wearing the exact same thing, right? A listing's different. I put a suit on for every listing, but most buyers, I just go meet them how I normally show up. But I'm usually semi-business cash on most.
Yeah,
days.
I do business cash. I'll do shorts and some Sperry's in the summer, and with a nice little polo or something simple. But yeah, I'm not a suit and tie kind of guy. So I didn't get into real estate to have to conform fully to what we're supposed to look like, I guess. So it's not a requirement on our team. Anybody likes to dress down and just wants to work really hard in a t-shirt, come join the Kazarian team. You're very welcome here.
Awesome. Well, Harry, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I don't know how this all will look after we get it edited, but I'm sure it'll be great.
All right, man. Just put some of those nice filters on me, make me look like I'm 24, and
you got
be
it.
a friend for life.
You got it. All right, man.
All right, man.
We'll talk to you later. Bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Leads and Leverage. I hope you found our conversation insightful and actionable. Remember, success in real estate is not just about transactions. It's about the relationships you build, the teams you lead, and the impact you make in the lives of others. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected with our community of real estate leaders and entrepreneurs, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring you more valuable content and guests. Don't forget to visit our website, gpghome.com/leads and leverage for additional resources, show notes, and exclusive updates. You can also follow me on Instagram at @real_Tyler Gibson to join the conversation and connect with like-minded individuals. See you next week.